guys, I'm here and we're back with more Five Nights with Harry by Harry LaFertz. Last time we left off, Harry, Erika, and some of the animatronics headed to a location that we've kind of been before where we saw like the other characters that were orphans and possessed the animatronics. And we left off cliffhanger with what seems to be a golden foxy who's a little crazy in the head, attacking them, although Harry got in the way. So that's basically where we left off last chapter. If you want to go check it out, there is a playlist. Normally linked at the end, I believe. So go check that out if you want. As always with these videos, if you want to follow along, chapter link will be in the description of the video, as always. In the description, sorry. As always. So let's get started. A moment later, before anyone could have reacted, the animatronic collided with Harry. Having hit the ground, Erika scrambled back to her feet. Harry! She then turned toward the animatronics. Do something! With a shaken look, Bonnie turned to her as he tried to ignore how Harry's eyes had gone pitch black with a white pupil. And do what? With the way they're struggling, if we grab at the wrong time, then she could have a chance to hurt Harry. To their shock, though, the animatronic began to scream and shake as smoke wafted out between her joints as her and Harry grappled. Suddenly, she started to jerk and contort as if she was being electrocuted, or maybe having a stroke, as her screaming reached a new pitch and was joined by Harry. All there took a step back for a moment as there was flashes of light before Foxy growled and leapt forward. He then grabbed the animatronic. Let go of him! With a heave, he threw it across the room where it lay limp, except for the odd shudder now and then, as smoke continued to waft. However, Foxy ignored this as he crouched down to look at Harry, who seemed uninjured, except for some scratches and bruises. Are you alright, Harry, matey? Shaken, Harry grabbed Vicky's offered hand and hauled himself to his feet. Yeah. He then glanced towards Erika, who was walking toward him. Are you alright, Erika? With a frown, she looked herself over and nodded. I'm okay. But before Harry could say anything, her arm swung and Harry's cheek stung as she slapped him. You idiot! Why didn't you just pull me out of the way instead of throwing yourself in front of it? A moment later, she clutched him in a hug as she sniffed. I would never forgive myself if you got killed trying to save me. Confused, Harry looked towards the others, only for Bonnie, Vicky, and Rose to shuffle around a bit. Okay. Just the same, Harry decided to copy what he'd seen done before, so he hugged her back. Sorry. Before Erika replied, a sound caught all their attention. It took them a moment, but then they turned to where they could see the strange, reddish-gold, foxy-like animatronic curled up into itself as it tried to squeeze into a corner as it whimpered. It's me. It was me. I did it. Harry shared a look with Bonnie and Foxy, with the two staying close. Finally, he crouched down just out of lunge distance and frowned as it ignored him in favor of crying. Hey, what's wrong? The head whipped up and stared at Harry with one glowing eye as she spoke with a voice full of horror and anguish. It was me. I killed him. I killed my baby. If anything, she and Harry could tell from the voice curled up even more to the point where he could hear the sounds of things cracking and snapping inside the suit. I didn't want to. You have to believe me. But that voice, the voice from the man in the cloak forced me to. I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to, but I was just floating as my body killed him. His breath having caught in his throat, Harry gulped as his stomach twisted into knots, already knowing what she was talking about. Did this man have a silver mask? Now he had the animatronic's full and undivided attention, though it seemed she was looking through him at something else in the distance. Yes, he had a mask. there were others. They forced me to do things. There were these flashes of light, and this woman was in front of me. Then there was a pause before the Foxy looked to light continue, reliving those memories as her whole body shook and shuddered. I forgot. I forgot everything that happened, except that I killed my baby. I don't know how, but somehow knew what happened. Could feel it even if I could not remember. Then the police arrested me and the trial ended. Once more, shivers ran through her before Harry scooted closer and laid his hand against her shoulder as she clenched at her head. Uh, as she clenched at her head, her claws digging into her costume. I remember now. After they released me, I got a job here because as Eric left Freddy's, I was an entertainer in a spring suit. I lived to make the children laugh and smile because the pain wasn't so bad. Though it always came back when I left because I was reminded that I would never hear Eric laugh and see him smile ever again. And the pain would have returned worse than before no matter what I did. But then I overheard they were going to stop and still the safe rooms. I would never again make children laugh and smile. Just like Eric would never again laugh and smile because of me. The pain was so bad at that thought. So I hid in the room when they stilled it, and once they left, more than slightly sickened, Harry guessed what had happened next as the pieces fell into place. He focused on what he was doing, otherwise he felt he was about to lose what food was in his stomach, like he could hear Erika doing. Dear sweet Merlin. Sobs began to escape her. Everything had gone dark. I knew that I was going to get what I deserved. Then I woke up. There was blood everywhere. So much blood. And the pain. My body now hurt like my heart. But yet it didn't hurt. And everything felt so wrong. Then I remembered everything. The men in the clothes. What they made me do. It felt. Her whole body shook with her sobs. Don't, I don't know how long before I clawed my way out. I couldn't think. But then I escaped to the graveyard and found Eric's grave. Her voice just broke as she struggled to speak, but she managed as Harry felt a growing horror in him. Grave? I was just there, alone, so alone. No one wants to care. I had abandoned him, so I dug up his grave, carried off his bones like some sort of animal, and desecrated my baby's grave. Sir, nothing more than a beast. I don't deserve to be called his mother after what I did and what I've done. To her surprise, as well as the others, Harry closed the distance and pulled her into an embrace, trying to distract himself from how his stomach rebelled at what he heard. Shh. It's okay. Everything will be better now. But even though there was a horror, there was also anger and disgust, pointed towards who he knew was to blame. Damn you, Voldemort. Damn you, your fellows, and Ministry for what they did to her. Once more feeling that strange warmth, no longer so hot as to burn, the soul inside the animatronic was reminded of a similar warmth. The warmth that she had felt inside her whenever her son had laughed, smiled, hugged her, and many other times. Memories drifted through her head of her son and all the times they had shared. Even though she was unable to actually cry, she still sobbed as each memory brought back a pulse of fresh pain, which was soon soothed by a strain of warmth. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Please. As Harry comforted the emotionally devastated animatronic, the animatronics who had dealt with her before just stared in shocked disbelief. Finally, Theodore found his voice as he turned towards Bonnie. How did he, what? Bonnie didn't take his eyes off the scene before them as he spoke. His tone filled with sadness and something that could only be identified as understanding. Harry is special. He is used to murderous animatronics and helping them free themselves from the darkness that surrounds them. I'm not too surprised that he managed it this time. That caused more than a few looks directed his way from Theodore and the other unlimited animatronics. Having noticed, Bonnie just shrugged. Let's just say that she was not the only one who was lost in the darkness that Harry had saved. Still confused, Opal nodded until one of the things that Harry had said returned to her. Wait, the both of them, those people they described, there was different from the other limited animatronics outside the Spring Foxy. Folks with the masks? That sounds like... It was a shivering Jessie who finished the thought. Like the people who killed us. Having caught that, Spring Foxy stiffened a bit and then whipped around to stare at them. They have harmed you too? Her head twitched a bit before she turned toward Harry. And you know who they are? Wally shared a look with Rose. Harry nodded. Yeah. Years ago, their leader killed my mom and dad when I was just a year old. He tried to kill me, but some magical protection that my mother placed on me while she died prevented it, and it left him powerless for years. Though he returned, and for a moment he stumbled over his word before a glance into Spring Foxy's eyes gave him the strength to continue. He killed a classmate of mine and in front of me, and tortured me a bit in front of his followers, the Death Eaters. Several months passed as Spring Foxy repeated the name over and over, as if to memorize it as her eyes glowed. Then her expression softened as much as it could, and she pulled Harry into a tighter hug, much to his surprise. I lost my son because of them, and you have lost your parents. Confused, Harry blinked and missed a face palm from Rose. They were all distracted though as they heard something and turned to see Erika spitting out water she drank from a bottle over the puddle of vomit. Ugh. Shaking it off, Theodore glanced at Opal and the other animatronics before he shrugged. We were their children at the children's home next door. One night, a bunch of these Death Eaters appeared in front of the home. Well, they set out a fire and we died, I think. He then motioned at himself. Then we woke up in these animatronics. Part of it was unnerved by the intensity that Spring Foxy was giving him and the others before she began to stare off into space. Theodore then turned to the animatronics who had come with Harry and Erika. So, what about you? It was Vicky who answered with a shrug. Not quite the same, but we're all kids too who died. There's myself and four others who had our souls sucked out by this monster, and then entered the animatronics somehow. Bonnie, Foxy, Rose here, along with Freddie, Chica, and Olive, back at our original pizzeria, were murdered by a man named Vincent and had their bodies shoved into the costumes by being known as the marionette. Lakia wasn't a child, though. She was a dog. A very smart one. That caused the London animatronics outside of Spring Foxy, who's now watching the animatronics with an intensity that caused some discomfort to them, to stare. Nonetheless, Jessie ignored it as she looked at Erika. So, you're going to fix me? With a smile, Erika wiped her mouth a bit. Well, yes. I'll have to see if there's any spares here to give me any clue for your costumes, though. A frown then crossed her face. The map doesn't say exactly where parts of the surface is, though, as the one we peeked in was more a closet than anything. And I might need what's in there to fix you all up, maybe. As she blinked, Spring Foxy looked up. You'll need to look in the basement where parts of the surface was. They should have what you're looking for. She slowly got up, pulling Harry to his feet before she began to walk with one claw crooked. Follow me, please. I'll take you there. The others all followed her as there seemed a sense of purpose in her step. Harry raised an eyebrow at her, though he didn't say anything. They're children, all of them, and they need help. Harry stopped in front of a large door a few minutes later and blinked. What's this? Staying close to the strange form that came from him, Spring Foxy gestured at the door. Parts of the surface was kept in the basement and out of the way, as it gave more room and kept it out of the way. There were two ways of reaching it. One of this service elevator, the other is a door next to it. They tried to open said door, only for the knob to break off due to rust. Even Vicky tried to pry it open didn't work, and she shook her head. It's pretty damn good in there. I don't think that we'll be able to open it. Having ignored the conversation between Harry and Spring Foxy, where he was explaining about how the suits could be possessed, Foxy tilted his head. It'd be a real hard test to break. It was then that he noticed that the hallway led to it. But I'd be having a great idea. To Vicky's confusion, she was gently pushed out of the way. What are you doing? If anything, her confusion increased as Foxy ran to the end of the hallway. Sometimes you'll need to be hitting a chest to open it. Get away! He was a blur as he sped down the hallway to kick the door. But then, just as he raised his foot, Foxy stepped on something slick on the floor. He then proceeded to crash into and through the door and go flying down the stairway. Everyone cringed and winced at the crashes and bang. Several seconds passed after the last one before Harry stuck his head into the doorway and looked down. Foxy? From below came a voice. I be okay. Ow. Erika turned on her flashlight and began to walk down the stairway. Swear to God, Foxy, if I need to give you any big repairs, then I'm going to make you freaking regret it. Shaking his head about a minute later, Harry stood above the laid out Foxy as Erika checked him over. Now what exactly have we learned today? Foxy slowly blinked as he stared upwards before he raised a single claw. Be making sure that someone has swept the deck clean before running. Sorry. Oh my God, Foxy was very funny today. Okay. Sighing, Harry facepalmed as he ignored the sound of flesh hitting metal as Erika slugged him in the shoulder. He then decided to distract himself and shine his flashlight over the basement and gave a low whistle at what he saw. Whoa, this place is packed with parts. It was then that Erika looked up and shined her light across the crates and felt her eyebrows raise. You're right. Then she noticed the tool bench and walked over before she opened a drawer. Wait, these are top-end tools. A little bit corroded and rusted, but still good. Hell, some of these are still sealed. He didn't get the chance to open them. With an amused look, Harry chuckled some. They're all yours. He chuckled some more as she grinned at him and gave him a thumbs up before she went back to going through the drawers. Harry then noticed that Sprinkle Foxy was quiet and staring off into space with a thoughtful look. Something the matter? Having shaken off her distraction, Spring Foxy turned to him. Huh? No, not really. I'm just thinking over what you said. That's all. Even though he wanted to know more, Harry was soon distracted as Vicky bounced up. Harry, Edgar wants us to go and look for an undamaged box. See if there's anything really salvageable. Come on. He gave Spring Foxy one last look before he let himself be pulled along. If he had looked back, Harry would have seen Spring Foxy wander off to another section of the basement with an unsure look. Eventually, they found one crate that was sealed and laid out. It was only the work of a few minutes to open it, which caused Erika to grin widely. Jackpot! That caused Harry to look at her oddly, as did the others, as Theodore looked in. What's the big deal? There are a bunch of parts. For a moment, Erika chuckled before she shook her head. Theodore, you don't mind me calling that, do you? The dinosaur animatronic just shook his head, utterly confused. These parts are still all wrapped up and sealed. That means that they probably have very little corrosion, if any. Sarah rubbed her chin as she looked around. Of course, there's probably just a few like this, but they're still good. Any of the others which might be corroded, I'll have to look into. Even those corroded parts might be of use after I get them fixed up a bit. Then I can use them to fix you guys up. However, as he looked around, Harry's face fell a bit. There's just so much here that we need to handle, though. We'll have to make a number of trips back and forth just to make sure that we have it all. He then ran his hand through his hair tightly. It sounds like this that I wish that I could just say, Dobby, could you come here and give us a hand? Sure, it's easy and everything, but there was a pop, and everyone leaned back as there was a small creature there. Mr. Harry Potter, sir, calls on Dobby. Barney blinked before he got down to Dobby's level as the small house elf stared back at him. Meanwhile, Harry coughed into his fists. Dobby, what are you doing here? With a blink of his large eyes, Dobby tilted his head some. Dobby be hearing the great Mr. Harry Potter, so call on Dobby for help, be needing it. So Dobby says to himself, Dobby, the great Mr. Harry Potter, sir, be needing you, so you should go to him. So Dobby come. Coughing into his fist to cover his surprise, Harry glanced around. Right. Well, Dobby, these are my friends. He did a quick introduction of the animatronics there before he got down to Dobby's level and gestured around them. Do you think that you could somehow get all of this into a truck for transport? Or better yet, transport them to the Freddy Fazbear Family Pizzeria in Little Wings so that we don't need to make multiple trips back and forth. As he nodded, he said so fast it looked like it could pull off. Dobby smiled. Dobby's can be doing that for you, Mr. Harry Potter, sir. Dobby doing it all right now. When Erika asked him if Harry could get in trouble, Dobby shook his head. Oh no, Dobby can make sure that Ministry not be knowing about magic being used, so that great Mr. Harry Potter, sir, not be getting into trouble. Once more, Harry coughed as he looked around. Right then. Is that how he knows that Spring Foxy was nowhere in sight and found? While you're doing that, I need to check on something. Mind giving me a hand, Aunt Rose? The golden animatronic shook off its surprise and nodded a bit. Of course. Let's go and handle whatever it is that you need. With a nod, Harry walked back towards the stairwell and stopped at the bottom where Jessie was propped up against the wall. Hey, Jessie, was it? Blinking, the wolf animatronic nodded a bit. Have you seen Spring Foxy around here anywhere? She blinked for a moment before she gestured up the stairs. Yeah. Saw her come by a few minutes ago, lugging a black foxy costume up the stairs for some odd reason. She was mumbling at everything. Why? As his eyes widened a bit and things clicked in place, Harry gave her a slightly shaky smile. Oh, just wondering where she'd gone off to is all. Hey, Aunt Rose, we gotta go have a talk with her. Confused, Rose nodded and waited till they were at the top of the stairs before she turned to her nephew. You know something. Spill. There was a grimace on his face as he started to walk through the pizzeria, glancing at the map in his hands to tell him where the back room was. I think that I know what she's about to do, though I'm not sure if I want to stop her or not. Soon enough, they reached the room in question and found debris scattered in front of them from where they had been thrown before they entered. Harry then saw Spring Foxy sitting in front of a wrap bundle with a black foxy suit close by. Hey. However, Spring Foxy barely moved. I thought for a bit that I could, I really did, but I don't know if I should. Even if it worked, I've already desecrated his grave hero. Would this be right? To pull him from his breast? Sniffles escaped her as she closed her eyes and shook. After what you told me, I just wanted to hold him in my arms again. To tell him that I love him and how sorry I am. Is that so wrong? Taking a shuddering breath, Harry took a few steps forward before he knelt down and hugged her as she shook and sobbed. Shh. Shh. A few minutes passed as Harry gently held the sobbing animatronic before they slowly subsided. I'm sorry about this. It's just, I really don't know what to do. Not really saying much for a few moments, Harry slowly blinked as he knew that his aunt was within grabbing distance as he looked at the bundle of rags. Through a small gap, he could see what looked like a bone. So, That's Eric then. Slowly, Spring Foxy nodded as she stared off into space. Yes, that's my son. Her eyes blinked as she let out a soft sigh. He was such a beautiful little boy. Eric, my baby had the most wonderful smile and laugh, always laughing and smiling, every little thing, enjoying what life gave him. As Spring Foxy continued, she pulled her knees up against her chest. We used to go to a park nearby. We would run, play in the grass, and bring clean flowers. For a moment, Harry was silent before he nodded. Sounds like he was a wonderful child. With another sob, Spring Foxy shifted a bit. Eric was such a gift to me, and another sob escaped her as she leaned against Harry. I miss him so much. I know that I'm dead. My heart is, but it hurts. It hurts so much. Just, I want him back and in my arms, laughing and smiling again. So much that I would do almost anything just to give him a second chance. But doing this is. Harry let out a sigh as he ran his hand through his hair. I won't judge you one way or the other. I really knows. Part of him considered that his aunt could hear his every word, but there was a bit of him who needed to be said. Really knows that since I found out the truth, that I've wondered if I could do something similar with my parents. If I could just place them inside a suit and try to bring them back, even if only for a little time. If he expected Spring Fox to say anything, it certainly was not what she did. They would be proud. At his confused expression, she reached out with her paw and gently stroked his hair. Your parents? You said that they had died. Speaking as a mother, I can only say that they would have been probably be proud of their son. Despite me attacking you like some mad beast, you comforted me and still are. Blinking away some tears, Harry softly smiled. Maybe. He then shook his head. Thanks. Her head tilting a bit. Spring Foxy sighed. Veronica. My name is Veronica. A smile answered her as Harry gave a nod. Veronica, thank you. When she asked what was to happen, Harry frowned a bit. Well, once we have all the spare parts and such from here, we'll bring you Uncle Paxton's pizzeria in Little Wing. Erika needs to sort through things and get ready, so it'll be some time before everything is fixed. Though she'll be fixing Jessie up first, as she's the most damaged. There was silence before Veronica tilted her head back to stare at the ceiling. There being some small snapping and cracking sounds from in the suit. That's good. They all deserve a second chance. With his eyebrow raised, Harry turned to her, sorry. What do you mean by they? You all deserve a second chance. He rolled his eyes as she whipped her head around with a crack, as her jaw dropped. Harry did hold back a wince, though, as he could see her rotting jaw inside the spring suit at the back. What? Shaking her head, she stared at him. Oh, wait, that was him. What? What? Shaking her head, she stared at him. You think I deserve a second chance? Looking away, Veronica hung her head. After all that I've done? It wasn't Harry that answered, though, but Rose. Of course you do. If those of us in the Little Wing branch are going to stand a chance, then so do you. The Golden Freddy sat down on her opposite side. Besides, we could use your help. Knowing that she had her interests, Rose continued. We need an adult figure in our lives. One who knows what we've gone through. Unsure, Veronica looked around the room. I'm not sure that I should. Perhaps it would be best to leave me here. A moment later, she was stunned as Rose grabbed her and shoved her face into Veronica. Don't you dare! You want to redeem yourself? Rose waited until she nodded and groaned. Then you're coming with us when we leave this place. If you want to redeem yourself, then you can do so alongside us. Everything echoed around in Veronica's head as she thought it over. You're children, but... She looked at Rose for a moment and then turned towards Harry. But what? I'm an adult and a mother. Could I just leave children to be alone? And her gaze then passed over the bundle that contained her son. She felt something deep inside shift. That's right. I'm a mother, and I became an entertainer to make children laugh, smile, and laugh. How could I turn my back on children when I promised Erika to help others? Not knowing of her decision, Harry reached up and laid a hand on her shoulder. Hey. For a moment, Veronica didn't move before she turned her head. If you want me to come, then I guess I can. The fox animatronic then looked at her son for the reins. I'm still not sure, but if you don't mind, if I don't, then you could help me. Could you help me? Harry slowly nodded. Find a spot for it to be buried again? At her nod, he smiled with watery eyes. Sure, I don't think that would be much of an issue. Slightly smiling, Harry walked around the back of the moving van, making sure that the animatronics were all secure, as were the boxes. With one last yank on the straps that held Jessie in place, Harry nodded. Okay, that was like everything. Then I glanced at his watch, and he felt his eyebrows raise a bit. How am I ahead of schedule to boot? Huh. For where he was leaning next to Veronica, who carried a little bundle to her chest, Foxy grinned. Well, matey, this has been quite the adventure, but I be agreeing that it be time to sail home. Arr. Swearing glanced for the Shadow Foxy costume, Bonnie nodded. It'd be nice to get back to the restaurant and wash out this gunk. Yuck. There were nods and sound of agreement from the others. In fact, Opal looked herself over with a frown. I forgot what it feels like to be clean. It's been so long. As she stood with her arms crossed just outside, Erika chuckled. No kidding. First thing that I'm doing after I finish up getting you guys home is taking a nice long and hot shower. I'll probably be looking like a lobster by the time I'm done. She waved to Harry, and he walked out before closing the moving van door and securing it. Well, that's that, I suppose. With a nod, Harry clapped his hands together. Tell me about it. He then yawned a bit and stretched as he looked at the night sky. You think that there's any coffee shops still open? Still? Because I could go for something. Suddenly, he blinked as he could hear Aya's voice. Coffee and pastries. Could you get pastry as well? It's been so long. However, that just caused Harry to blink for a moment before he raised an eyebrow and spoke up just before Eric could say something. Wait, how would you even eat anything, Aya? Having noticed Erica's confused expression, he shrugged. She wants me to get pastry as well. Erika only stared at that. How? She's a ghost, right? It was then that Aya grinned as Harry could feel her arms encircle him. How can I eat through you, Harry, and taste what you taste? After he passed on what she had said, Eric grimaced a bit. Well, that's certainly not the least bit creepy. Nope, not at all. She shook it off, though, as both her and Harry began to walk towards the cab of the moving van after closing and securing the trailer door. Anyway, we'll be able to find a place this time of night. Maybe some place where truckers visit? Before Harry could comment, both of them was blinded by a car's headlight. Just as he realized what was in front of him, the car's door opened and out stepped two police officers. After they walked up, he gave them up. Good morning, officers. How can we help you? One of them shined a light onto the moving van with a frown, while the younger one stopped in front of Harry. Would you mind telling us what two teens are doing in front of an abandoned pizza building this early with a moving van? Also, could you identify yourselves? The two shared a look before they did so, Harry not noticing the younger officer's eyes narrow at his name. As to what we're doing, we're retrieving some animatronics that had been left behind, along with some parts when the pizzeria closed. We're doing it at night, as we don't want to attract media attention with what has happened recently. Just as the elder police officer was about to nod, the younger one grunted. Likely story. Now open up the back. Even his partner was taken aback a bit aback. John? Huh? However, he was shot a look. I know all about this kid, Walter. My sister lives on the same street as his aunt and uncle. Apparently he's a troublemaker. Heard it myself directly from his relative. John ignored his partner speaking on the radio as he gestured with his head at the moving van. So then, mind opening it up so that we can see? Harry had an annoyed expression on his face as he eternally swore about his relatives managing to cause him grief even when they weren't there. With a sigh, he ran his hand through his hair. Mind if I show you our paperwork as well? After the elder officer nodded, he opened the cab door and slowly reached for a folder which he brought out and handed to them. It's all there and cleared up. Scowling, John looked through it before he closed it and passed it to his partner, who also looked through it. However, he nodded. Seemed all in order. John wasn't satisfied, though, and tapped the side of the moving van. Now, open up. Now worried and annoyed, Harry walked to the back and opened up to reveal the animatronics who stood where they were, or still as statues. Both Rose and Veronica had their eyes closed and jaws firmly shut. See? Nothing to worry about. Eternally, he was asleep. I wonder where they put Eric, though. Suspicious, John clambered up, now to the annoyance and desperation of Walter. John, there's nothing there. Let's let them go on their way and continue our patrol. Walking around, the officer shined his lights at the animatronics and shuddered. Then he grimaced at the smell. Ugh, smells like something died in here. Erika gestured at Theodore and the others. Well, they have been sitting abandoned for 20 years back there. Our costumes are running, and it would not surprise me if there were some dead rats in there. Finally, John had enough and left the back of the moving van before he scowled. Seems at this time you're above the line. Just don't go causing trouble around here. And with that, he stalked off, not having noticed Walter scowl at him before the apologetic officer turned to Harry and Erika as they once more closed the back of the moving van. I'm sorry about this. John is usually more even-tempered. However, Harry just shrugged. I'm used to it, thanks to my uncle. Slowly shaking his head, Walter walked back to the police car and got in. After a moment, he turned to John and glared. Mind telling me what that was all about, John? There was no need of that. You should not have been pushing so much. I even had to call in for a check. And you know what? Kid has no criminal record. You better hope that nothing comes from this. Surprised, John turned to him. No criminal record? But he goes to St. Brutus Secure Center for Incurable Criminal Boys, according to his relatives. There was a silence before Walter reached up and pinched his nose. St. Brutus? I know about that place, and I can say that you've been hoodwinked. And to know why? Getting a nod as they pulled out, Walter sighed. Because it closed down about a decade ago. There's no way that the kid goes there at all. All John could do was grit his teeth as he realized he got lied to before he realized something else. Anything in his record about his parents? Walter just shrugged as he looked in the rearview mirror to see the moving van pull out the parking lot and head in the opposite direction. Just as they were found dead, murdered, their cottage. One of those old soul cases repeatedly that happened back then. However, he missed the silent snarl on John's face as the police officer face turned red from anger and embarrassment. Not a car accident, then. No one makes a fool out of me. Finally, the moving van came to a stop in front of Freddy's, and Harry got out. With an exhausted sigh, he walked up to the door and knocked. About a minute later, Michelle opened the door and blinked at him before her face lit up into a smile. Harry! Despite the tiredness he felt down to his bones, Harry's lips turned upwards into a smile. Hey, Michelle, how are they? With a chuckle, she shrugged. They were good. It was that she took in his tired expression and dirty clothing. What the hell happened to you? Then looked at Erika and her eyes nearly popped out of her head. What the hell happened to both of you? The two shared a similar look and then sighed as they answered at the same time. It's a long story. Erika then walked over to the moving van door and opened it to reveal not just Foxy, Bonnie, Rose, Blackie, and Vicky, but the others as well. For a few moments, Michelle stared as she was joined by the animatronics that had stayed behind. Then she raised a finger and pointed at them. You found more? With a blink, Michelle took in the glare from Erika as Said young woman gestured with her head at Olive. Frickin' heck! As she read one thankfully clean and scrubbed hand, thanks to a gas station they stopped at, Erika shook her head. The place had them in it, and it seems that they've been there for more than a decade without maintenance. However, Chica only clapped her hands and smiled. Oh, good. That means Chelsea and me should go and bake some more pizzas. While the others slowly stepped off the moving van, Harry shook his head a bit. Actually, I got a surprise for all of you on the way back. Freddie, mind giving me a hand? Confused, the bear walked up next to him and waited as he opened the driver's door before his eyes widened. Harry then placed several trays of cups in his hands as he grabbed some boxes and closed the door with his shoulder. After he looked it over, Freddie raised an eyebrow. What are these now? All Harry did was smile and chuckle. Well, the cups are hot chocolate, and there are some bakery treats that we got on the way back. Her eyes wide, Chica stepped forward excitedly. Ooh, yummy! What did you get? Setting the box of bakery treats down the hood of Michelle's car, he took the topmost tray alongside Erika and began to pass out the cups. Nice little section. They're the topmost box because, well, he glanced over at the animatronics at the London location, who seemed confused. Chica looked to herself and then nodded. I suppose that makes sense. Should have held open the box to them with a smile. Well, go on and choose something. Theodore looked into the box and then back at the smiling Chica before he blinked. We're animatronics. We don't eat. Slowly, Chica raised an eyebrow and pointed behind them, and they turned to see Erika give an excited Olive a cup of hot chocolate which the little animatronic drank from. She also hopped from one paw to another as her tail swished back and forth before she took a bite from the eclair her mother gave her. Yummy! For a few moments, the animatronics from the London location stared in shock before they turned back to the amused Chica. Then, as if he was not sure, Jessie reached over from where she hung on her brother's shoulder and took a donut which she bit in two. Silence descended for a moment as she chewed before she closed her eyes and had a bit of cleaning fluid drip from behind her eyelids. It's so good. Not even a moment later, the others grabbed some items themselves as they tasted food for the first time in almost 15 years. They also grabbed the hot chocolates they were given and began gratefully taking sips as they enjoyed themselves. Meanwhile, someone else was also enjoying eating. Oh, yes! Like that, Harry! Like that! Right there! Don't stop! Don't stop! Oh god, that's so... ugh! Yeah, that doesn't sound bad at all. With a blank, Michelle noticed that Harry had stopped eating and was utterly red with a horrified expression on his face. Can't say I blame him. Something the matter, Harry? Harry turned to her, and she had to blink at how one eye was black because of white people. It's... Hey, Michelle's raised eyebrow to continue. He did so. She, can taste food as she's partially possessing me if I'm eating it, and she really likes the pastry. Utterly confused, Michelle shrugged. Okay, that may be a bit creepy and all, but whatever. Doesn't explain your expression. However, Harry just gave her a look, which after a moment Michelle deciphered. Oh. Her face then reddened. Oh! The young wizard just nodded while he could hear Aya shout at him in his head. Yes, yes, that's lovely, all, but please, want more. Oh, yes, yes. Needless to say, it was so hard for Harry not to choke as he continued to eat, though his face felt like it was on fire, as for the first time in years, Aya actually tasted pastries like she loved in life. And that's the end of chapter 15. How great to end. What a great way to end. Oh my god. That was just, that was painful for me to do. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. If you did, leave a like, be sure to subscribe, and I guess review, leave a comment. I guess tell the author, go review the chapter, tell the author what you think, and if you do, make sure you tell me too, because I want to know too. But yeah, Um, but I guess let me know what you think. And be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday. Bye!